Dear students of class 12th English literature, today in this lecture 1 English version lecture, our topic is The Homecoming, that is written by Rabindranath Tagore. Students, in this chapter, The Homecoming, you may uh, understand the sense as somebody is coming home. But students, the meaning of this title is to make one understand something. Students, sometimes we don't understand anything and we continue to make mistakes, but at last when we understand that I was on a wrong path and I try to mend my ways, that is homecoming. In Hindi, you can say लौट कर बुद्धू घर को आए. It means when finally someone understands his mistake and makes himself on a right path, it is the homecoming. Because the character of this story, Fatiq Chakravarti, realizes what the importance of his parents are. He realizes it in the end of the story. That's why this is the homecoming. Students, Rabindranath Tagore, the writer of this chapter, is a person who rose social issues of medium class of the society. Students, now let's understand about Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, you can say Rabindranath Thakur, known as Rabindranath Tagore, was a Bengali poet. Students, he was the first Asian to win the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for the Gitanjali, a collection of short poems. Students, as I have told you, he tried to raise social issues based on medium, you can say middle class society. In this story, students, he describes a child who is very naughty, but there is a great moral teaching in his character. Now let's begin this chapter. Student, this is M. Rehman and you are attending ORAC classes of English language. Please to continue your syllabus, subscribe our channel ORAC classes of English language, and if you please like your lectures, share, comment and subscribe our channel. Now let's begin this lecture 1 of this chapter. Fatiq Chakravarti was a ringleader among the boys of the village. Students, this Fatiq Chakravarti was a child of teenage and he was known as the ringleader. Students, ringleader means a person who is able to guide a group of people. Because he was a gregarious person, means he always had a group of his friends with him. And his friends followed him whatever he instructed them. That's why he is called the ringleader. A new mischief got into his head. It means that boy never sat idle. Every time he had something in his mind. There was a heavy log lying on the mud flat of the river waiting to be shaped into a mast for a boat. Suppose something is lying somewhere and you see that thing and just after observing the thing you had an idea in your mind what you can do new to amuse yourself and to others, and this was with Fatiq Chakravarti. Students, now observing this log, he had an idea in his mind, why not they prepare it into a boat and they play with that boat. He decided that they should all work together and shift the log by main force, means he instructed his followers and instruct them to use that log and play with that, and they wanted to take this log from this place to another by rolling it away. The owner of the log would be angry and surprised. The reason behind this action to roll this log was to make the owner of the log angry, and to see that him angry they were to be amused, means they wanted some enjoyment on the anger of the person who owed the log. and they would all enjoy the fun. As I have already told you, everyone seconded the proposal and it was carried unanimously. Seconded the proposal means everybody accepted it and it was carried unanimously. Carried means it was done. Unanimously means in unity. But just as the fun was about to begin, but as the boys were going to do the same thing, Makhan Fatik's younger brother sauntered up. Sauntered up means walking, came there, wandering by the way. He sat down on the same log in front of them, all without a word. You know, students, the log which they were trying to roll and wanted to play with that and wanted to tease the owner of the log, just at the moment there was a younger brother of Fatigue who came and sat on the log. When he sat on the log, it was a moment of surprise for them, because it is written, boys were puzzled for the moment. Now he was pushed. He was pushed means the brother of Fatigue was pushed rather timidly, because the brother of Makhan, Fatigue's brother, was the leader of them, by one of the boys and told to get up, but he remained quite unconcerned. Means one of the boys tried to push him lightly and indicated him that he should not sit there, he should get up from there, but Makhan paid no attention. He appeared like a young philosopher meditating on the futility of games. He continued to sit there without paying attention on their pushing. And he was sitting there just as a philosopher was meditating, just as the philosopher is meditating on the idea of the uselessness of the games. Fatigue was furious, means Fatigue got angry and he cried, Makhan, if you don't get down this minute, I'll thrash you. Means, Makhan, if you don't stand, I will beat you. Makhan only moved to a more comfortable position. In spite of standing from there, Makhan sat more comfortably. Now, if Fatigue was to keep his regal dignity before the public, I mean to say, students, this was the question for Fatigue to maintain his ego there before his followers, because his younger brother was bringing him down, his image. So it was Fatigue's duty to maintain his dignity before his followers, because it was a great insult of Fatigue that there was somebody who wasn't ready to follow him. It was clear he ought to carry out his threat. Means it was clear that Fatigue must get his threat done by his younger brother, but his courage failed him at the crisis. Students, I mean to say, but Fatigue's efforts were proved to be futile at that moment, and in this difficult crisis, means in this difficult situation. His fertile brain, however, rapidly seized upon a new maneuver. Means even in this bad position, in this bad situation, when his dignity was going to be ruined, he continued to think over to do something new, which would discomfit his brother and afford his followers an added amusement. A student, this is a very nice line in English literature. I mean to say, he was continuously thinking how to give discomfort to his younger brother and how to give a pleasant laughter to his followers. Means to make happy was the main motto, to make happy his friends, and he wanted to show something full of indignity to his brother. He gave the word of command to roll the log, and Makhan over together. He ordered his friends, he means Fatigue Chakravarti ordered his friends to roll over the log. Maybe there was Makhan on it. Makhan heard the order Students, Makhan came to know what his brother was going to do, but now it was a question of honor for Makhan not to stand from there. I mean, point of honor to stick on. To stick on means to not to be away from there, because if he did so, his dignity would come down. But he overlooked the fact, means he ignored this reality that he would suffer something. Like those who attempt earthly fame in other matters, that there was peril in it. Now this line is very important. There may be a question on this line. What does this line mean? This line means when sometimes for a short victory, we sometimes students take something unfavorable action, and it may be dangerous for our life, as Makhan did here. What he did? He continued sitting on the log, and it brought him a discomfort for him. Students, the boy began to heave at the log. Heave means they tried to uh, lift the log with great effort, unanimously, with all their might, means with all their power, calling out 1 2 3 go, means they started counting, and at the point of 3 they pushed the log together. At the word go, the log went, and with it went Makhan's philosophy, glory, and all, means just as they started pushing the log, Makhan rolled down into the dust, into the dirt. All the other boys shouted themselves hoarse with delight. Students, everybody began to laugh. Uh, uh, Everybody began to laugh, and it was very awkward moment for Makhan. But fatigue was a little frightened now. Now, students, in spite of being brave and doing such an act, why was he was frightened now? He was frightened because of the beating from his mother. He knew what was coming. He knew what was coming. What was coming? Good beating from his mother was coming to him. And sure enough, Makhan rose. It means it was clear to Makhan from mother Makhan. So he rose from mother earth, blind as fate. He rose from the earth. Student, this is a very literary line here. Mother earth, blind as fate, means mother earth acts equally with everybody. So was with Makhan. Makhan fell down on the earth, and he tried himself and rose from the earth, screaming like the Furies. Furies are the goddesses of Greece, students. They are the symbol of anger, and he rose from the ground earth, as the goddesses, means Furies, were giving curses to somebody. He was screaming, means he was shouting. At the same time, just as he got up, he rushed at fatigue and scratched his face, means he entangled with fatigue. He attacked fatigue with his nails and gave him scratches. He kicked his elder brother fatigue and beat him, and after beating he went crying home. This the first act of the drama was over. Student, Fatigue's life was full of mischiefs and activities which can irritate anybody. Now the first part of Fatigue's activity gets over. Student, this was the lecture 1. In lecture 2, now you will see what happens with fatigue and what new happenings were waiting for fatigue. Please, students, to continue your English literature, subscribe our channel Oracy Classes of English Language. Please share, like, and comment to us. Students, if you want solution of related assignment which are on Insta address given in description box, you write to us in comment box. We will send answers related to the question of this chapter to you. Thanks.